Hi, good afternoon. We're here with Gavin Percy from Balancing Edges. How are you doing, Gavin?
All good, thank you. Yeah, very good.
Good stuff. Nice to have you here. So, yeah, let's get straight in. If you'd like to tell us a little bit of background as to who you are, what you do, and how long you've been doing it for, please.
Yeah, my background is quite mixed. My background is actually hospitality. So I was a hotel general manager, went into sales, did sales for a while, became sales director for a couple of UK hotel chains, Best Western in York being one of them, sort of national hotel group director of sales, and then into Swallow Hotels. And then in 2013, I got made redundant from a role in a hotel group and decided to start my own consultancy business. And that consultancy business was largely hotel sales and marketing and customer service. And then I was doing that quite successfully. And my wife went on the 2-day mental health first aid course and came back and told me that I should be training that stuff. So obviously I always do what my wife tells me. So off I went and learned how to become a mental health first aid trainer in 2017. And what has happened over those years, my hotel side has declined and my mental health side of things has increased. And that was magnified even further by COVID, where all the hotels were struggling to survive. Never mind pay somebody like me to get them to go through it. So I did more and more mental health, and actually what I found is it's become my passion. I didn't expect that to happen. I did it as an earning curve really, but it's actually become my reason for being. I've also become a cognitive behavioral therapist during lockdown. I did that in my own time, but I also do 7 different courses now on mental health, and I think I'm making a difference. I love doing it. I love training. I love doing mental health training, and I love seeing the lights going on in the room as I'm training. And I know 2 of my delegates have told me that they, as a result of the course, have saved lives. So I think that is making a difference, and that's what I love to do.
Definitely fantastic. I'm pleased to hear that you found your passion or sort of a calling in life. That's really good to hear.
So, well, Mike, it's taken me 42 years to find something I'm actually good at. So that's what's happened.
Yeah, there's hope for us all. There we go.
Yeah.
So biggest impacts of COVID, you mentioned COVID then, obviously, and related to the work you do, I'm sure there's a number of areas you could kind of point to as the biggest impact. In terms of your business, I suppose, how did it affect you?
Well, obviously the health side of things, as I've already mentioned, declined faster than I was expecting it to. I mean, I was gradually moving towards the mental health side anyway. It just accelerated that. But on the training side, obviously nobody was training face to face either. So what happened as a result of that was we had to learn very quickly how to use these things and how to use this platform. And I was very concerned about that because I didn't think, because I'm a great believer in personal relationships and people buy from people and all that kind of thing. And I think training is the same. I think you bounce off your trainer. And I think if you haven't got that personal relationship, that makes it very difficult. But actually, counter to my worries, I've not found that at all. I found that I've been able to build those relationships up over Zoom or Teams or whatever I'm training on and maintain that. So it's not really been as big a problem as I thought. It was a bit of a difficult one to get started. Once the customer got used to the fact that was how it was going to be, they can actually see it saving them money. It's not costing me to go down to wherever they are or costing the delegates to get to one place. They can do it all over Zoom. They're all working from home. So it saves money and it saves time, and it's more cost effective for everybody. So in a way, it's worked really well. I know I'm doing some more face to face, but it's not anything like it was before lockdown. It's much more online than it was. Much more.
Yeah, definitely an area that a lot of businesses have fast-tracked themselves in terms of doing stuff online and saving costs, and it's about that balance, I think, between the face-to-face and the online stuff.
Sure.
Thank you. Just as a personal question that's kind of cropped up before I move on to the next one, in terms of just describing, because I've not heard of it before, what a mental health first aider trainer does.
Sure. Well, it's very similar as to physical first aid. So in physical first aid, you preserve life, you give people support, you help them until the professionals come along. mental health first aid is the same. So we're there to give people some support. We're there to identify what issues they may have and point them in the right direction to get support. We're not there to be mental health professionals, just as a physical first aider is not a paramedic, a doctor, or a nurse. We're just there to support people. And there's a whole action plan that we have. Mental Health First Aid England is who I generally present their courses. And their courses are developed all around that support mechanism. They've got a first aid action plan, which is called the ALGE model, ALGEE, and we go through that on the course. And it's gives people the structure from which to give people the support that they need to give them. And we talk them through what signs to notice in people, how to recognize those signs, how to give those people the initial support that they might need. We talk to them also about how to help people with suicidal thoughts and how to deal with that. Not in great detail because there's a separate course we do called Suicide First Aid, but we do talk about that. So there's some very, very powerful messages that come out in those 2-day courses. But we do a half-day awareness course, we do a 1-day champion course, a 2-day first aider course. So there's a different levels available at different price points, obviously, and at different commitment levels. So it works really, really well. They're amazing courses, and I say that, obviously I would say that, wouldn't I? But they are amazing courses. I get consistently astounding feedback. So yeah, it's really good.
Great, excellent. Thank you for sharing that and giving us a bit more insight. It's very very useful, I'm sure, for potentially anyone watching here as well. So, what does the future look like where you are now? What do you see as the main challenges are going forward?
For me, as a single a sole trader, I'm the man. There's nobody else. So in terms of support, my biggest challenge is really having time to business develop and to earn money. And I've found that the biggest problem since I started in 2013, before I started doing mental health training. But it's still the same challenge. And how I'm getting around that is I'm using a sort of associate model more. So I'm working for bigger companies as an associate and using that as the way of securing customers, and that takes a lot of pressure off. But I think also that's indicative of the way that we're working as a society now, isn't it? This sort of Deliveroo and others are working the same kind of way, where they're not delivering the products themselves, they're using third parties to do that, and that works the same way. And I think it's happening in all areas of life, and it's certainly happening in training, where why employ 7 or 8 trainers when you only need 4 most of the time? So employ 2 or 3 and have the rest of them people like me who works on a self-employed basis.
Sure. Okay, good. Thank you for sharing that. That's good. And then, since you've been doing this, I suppose your life in business, what would you say, if you could pick one, is your biggest learning?
On the mental health side of things, I think it was probably what I just talked about in terms of the associate model, but also the second thing is I also do a partnership model where I partner with companies, and so they promote it for me on their websites in return for me giving them their customers a little bit of discount and them getting a little bit of a sort of commission, if you like. I found that really works for me as well. Because the difficulty in getting to the direct customer, just getting access to the direct customer. So I guess I've spent a lot of time trying to get my own courses up and running, trying to get open courses going, trying to get into companies, and I just found it was just not working for me. So that was my biggest learning curve, really, just using easier access models to get to business.
Intelligent thinking, working smarter as opposed to harder, perhaps.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Good stuff. Thank you for that share. So if we were to go back in time and meet yourself at 18, or if you were chatting to a younger person looking to start out in business, what would be your advice to them, potentially yourself?
If it was to myself, I'd say make sure you do something you love and stick to it, rather than doing what you've been trained to do and you think that's what you need to stay in. Because I could have made this move decades ago and didn't, because I've always been in hospitality and I just carried on doing it. So perhaps that would be my learning curve, really, for myself, is to do what you enjoy doing, because it doesn't feel like I'm working. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that's the best position to be in, best feeling to be in. If you enjoy what you do, you never work another day in your life.
Exactly right. Yeah,
a good
exactly
quote there.
Yeah.
Thank you for that share. So what inspires you to do what you do, or what's inspiring you currently? Could be friends, family, team members, things you read, anything like that.
I'm just getting such a buzz out of customer feedback, and also the fact that I feel I'm making a difference. I mentioned earlier, I know 2 of my delegates have saved lives. Well, what actually happened was I got 2 separate emails the same day, coincidentally. Both emails came from past learners the same day. They had been on 2 completely different courses, weeks apart. Both of them wrote to me the same day to tell me that in their opinion, they'd saved a life as a result of the course. So they'd stop somebody taking their own life. And, I was humbled by that. I mean, it affects me to this day. I still get a bit emotional about it, that my training saved 2 lives. And if that's all I do, to me, that's a tick in the box. Now, I'm hoping that obviously that will be magnified as we go through and do more training. More and more people will feel that they've been able to make a difference. And I just think that you can't replace that. I can't get that anywhere else. So, that's what really gets me out of bed in the morning and makes me want to do what I do, and I don't think I'll give this up until, I'm not going to retire, basically, because I think, why would I want to retire when I can make a difference for the rest of my life?
Good stuff. Thank you very much for that. Very inspiring indeed. And then lastly, is there any latest news around your business, what you do that you'd like to share, or perhaps even direct people to a website, anything like that?
Okay. Well, we do. I've just announced my next set of open courses. So I do run courses directly, which are available to individuals to book on. And I've just done Q1 of 2023's dates. So they're all available on my website. So they can go into www.balancingedges.com/training-schedule. We'll get them directly to the training schedule page, and they can scroll down there and see the courses that they like the look of, and they can decide on the dates they want to go, and they can click on a link which takes them to a payment page, and it can all be done online. And then they'll hear from me, and we'll carry out the training. So, yeah, that platform is there all the time. I keep that up to date all the time, and I do those open courses relatively successfully, and with decent numbers, so they work quite well.
Brilliant. Thanks, Gavin. Well, all the best with it. I hope it goes from strength to strength for you, and appreciate you sharing all that you have today.
No, thanks very much for the time. Appreciate it. Thanks, Mike.